Hi everyone, it's Danny here from Derby County Community Trust, and this is week 2 of the Matchday Maths programme. Hopefully you managed to watch last week's lesson, which was all on inequalities and equalities. We spoke about how numbers were bigger or smaller than different numbers, and I set you lots of fun challenges. Hopefully you managed to do these, and hopefully you've been thinking about the work we've been doing throughout the last week. Remember, all we need for our lessons is just some blank paper, some pencils, some pens, and some colouring pencils. And like we said last week, we want you to keep your work, okay? So let's see if we can make it into a bit of a booklet that we can share with our friends and our family. Okay, now, this week, let's get started. So, week 2, we are going to look at addition, okay? We are going to think about how we can add numbers together, the types of numbers we add together, and also actually how, when we're at home or when we're at school, all the other things we add together apart from just numbers. Right then, so the first thing we need to do this week is I'm going to show you a super mover link, okay? Now, you have to type this link into the internet, and each week from now on, we're going to do these as our warm-up to get our minds and our body ready for the maths lesson, okay? A super mover video is produced by the BBC and the Premier League, okay? And it's here to teach us all things about maths, English, PSHE, but in a fun and active way. So go and complete this video, and then we'll get started after that. Right then guys, hopefully you enjoyed that Super Movers video and we're ready to get going with today's lesson. Remember, this week we're looking at addition and adding things together. So, for the first activity, I want you to complete 2 parts. For the first part, I want you to write down as many ways that we add things up. So think about whether you maybe write things down on a piece of paper to help you, or whether maybe we can use our body parts. See how many you can write down for ways to add things up. For the second part, I want you to write down as many things as possible that we can add up. So yes, we can add numbers together, but we might be able to count how many bananas are in a bunch, or how many bananas are in a pack. See if you can think of as many things as possible that we can count. Write them down and make your list really long. Well done guys, hopefully you managed to think of lots of ways that we can add up, and also lots of things in life we can add up. For the next activity, we're going to help Rami with his weekly shop. I'm going to give you 5 totals that Rami has to spend in his local supermarket. And I'm also going to give you a list of food and drinks that he can buy along with their prices. It's your job to make a shopping list for Rami on how much money he has to spend. There might be more than one list you can make though, so maybe you could make as many lists as possible, and you could also draw the items that he can buy. I'm going to write a few ways that you can make this easier or harder too, to challenge yourselves if you need to. Good luck and make lots of lists. Well done. Hopefully you managed to write lots of lists for Rami. The next thing we need to help Rami with is his holiday shop. To do this, I'm going to show you a list of items that we can buy from the DCFC shop. That might be a Derby County shirt or a Derby County hat. I'm going to give you a total amount to spend that Rami has to spend in the shop, along with the price of each item. The same way as before, can you make a list of things that Rami can buy from the shop? Also, like before, you might want to draw the items, or maybe even draw Rami wearing the items. I'll also write some things down that you can use to make this easier or harder. Good luck and give it a go. Well done. Hopefully you managed to help Rami create lots of lists for his shopping and also for his holiday shop. For the next activity, we're going to start to look at our maths attacks cards again, similar to what we did last week. This time we're going to make 3 new ones, and I want you to make me a card for your favourite fruit, your favourite vegetable, and also your favourite meal. But I don't want you to just put any numbers in the skills, for the skills ratings. I'm going to give you a number, for example, 10. The 6 numbers that you have to put inside the skill rating boxes have to equal 10. 10's not going to be the number I give you though, because now I've told you that one. I might give you 20, for example. It would be your job to think of 6 numbers that add up to 20, and using those 6 numbers, they are the numbers you have to use now for your skill rating. You can make this easier by using a number more than once, and you can also make this harder by using higher numbers, such as maybe 200 instead of 20. Give it a go and good luck. Well done. Hopefully we've now got 3 more really cool Master Tats cards, full with colour, that we can use for our games at the end of each lesson. For the next activity, you're going to be in charge. We are going to create a dream team of your animals, your ultimate animal 5-a-side team. I'm going to give you a list of animals along with the amount that each animal costs. I'm going to give you a total of £24 to build your team. It is up to you to choose 5 players that are going to play for your team, but I want you to draw these players down in their positions, and I also want you to write down why you've chosen them. Maybe if you get some time too, you can make your 5 animals into 5 more Master Tats cards and choose their own skill rating. But for their skill ratings, let's not make them any more than 20 to make it fair when we play against our partners. Good luck and have a go. Well done. How did you find that? Hopefully you managed to create a super cool animal 5-a-side team that you're now in charge of. For this next activity, I need you to pick 3 of your favourite cards that you have made so far during all of our activities. But we are going to do a challenge to see if your 3 cards match up with what I want them to. For example, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to see if your speed rating for all 3 cards adds up to 18. So to do this, we need to see which number is in the slot for speed rating on each of our 3 cards. If when you add those 3 numbers up, it equals 18, you're okay. They're your dream 3. But if it isn't 18, we need to change it so that we get 18 as the right answer. You might need to change 1 card, 2 cards, or maybe all 3 cards. Have a go at the different challenges I set and see if you can get your dream 3 every time. How do we find that? Hopefully you managed to add lots of different cards together to total the amounts I was telling you. Remember, we can always make this harder by increasing the amount of numbers that we use. We can always add a 0 on the end so that we have to equal 180 instead of 18, for example. For the next part, I want you to play with a partner, and we're going to have a 1v1 top trumps game, exactly the same as last week. But this week though, if I read out my score for power is 8, and my partner says my score is 6, we know that I get the point because 8 is higher than 6. But this week, you can only get the point and carry on with your turn if you can add those 2 numbers correctly. So for example, my power was 8, my partner's was 6. 8 plus 6 is 14. I got that correct, I get the point, I can move on to the next go. Have a go with your partner and make sure you challenge each other and make sure you give the correct answers. Good luck and have lots of fun. Right then guys, we're coming to the end of this week's lesson, the second week all about addition. So now we're coming towards the end, it's time for me to set you the home challenge for this week. For this week's challenge, all you're going to need is a pack of playing cards. If you haven't got a pack of playing cards, we can use our Master Tats cards that we've made throughout our lesson so far. For the first thing you need to do for this game, you need to make sure that you've got a parent or a guardian or somebody at home or somebody at school to help you with this game. So, the first thing we need to do is we need to set the cards up facing the right way up, 5 big steps away from your starting position. When we're ready to get going, whoever you're playing this game with is going to shout out a number for you. For example, 9. When they shout out a number, it is your job to run to the pile of cards and collect 2 numbers that add up to that number that has been shouted, but do it as quickly as possible. For example, if 9 was shouted, I could get a 2 and a 7. I take my cards back to the start, and if I'm correct, then a new number is shouted out so I can have another go. You can play this game for a minute, for 2 minutes, and see how many you get. You could use just one suit, or you could use a whole pack of cards. You could use just the numbers 2 to 9 to make it easier. You could use ace all the way through to king to make it harder. There's lots of different ways that you can do this. Have a go and try playing this challenge as many different ways as possible. I hope you enjoyed this week's maths lesson, guys, and I hope to see you next week. Thanks a lot.